So here we go. This is my day 8 on the Camino to Santiago. Walking all the way from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago de Compostela on my treadmill in Ireland, in Galway, Ireland. Okay, here we go. There's a little jump cut there in the video. It's Friday evening, so it's my day 8. BK is still on his day 2, looking overcast, nice Irish weather. I had a bad start this morning, so yeah, it's actually the evening. I was going to start this morning. I had everything lined up, and then I just got all confused with the video, and I realized that I edited yesterday's video to yesterday's walk to the wrong piece of video, so I had to do that, and then I had to do my day job. So end up walking in the evening. I'm sure you'd be fascinated to know all the details. I mean, it's just extraordinary how fascinating all this stuff is, you know, to me and to my many listeners. Okay, so anywho, I gotta stop saying anywho. That is such a cliche. Anywho, what have I got lined up for today? Oh God, I've nothing planned. It's hard to get to my notes. No, and I have to carry my phone. You see, I keep forgetting this to count my steps. So, yesterday I talked about acting the clown, how that's a habit I fell into. And when you act like a clown, people treat you like one, which isn't so great. I mean, it's okay if you're an actual professional clown, you get paid for it. But on that note, I realize I enjoy now channeling the clownish behavior into my writing. That's the best place to save it for. A bit of it comes out here, I hope, in a good way. And sometimes maybe I come up with something deep every so often here. I hope. Oh, here's a word I was thinking about. Perhaps. That's a word I say a lot. I think I was saying it on my first couple of days of the podcast. And then I realized, when I heard myself saying it, I just realized that's me. That's James covering all the bases. People pleaser, trying to keep everyone happy. I mean, with my point of view on things, I can be flexible. But as I said, I'm trying to figure out what my point of view on life is. That doesn't mean I have to rigidly stick to that. We're getting big arguments over it. But I think it's possible to overdo the perhaps thing. So this guy's dragging stuff behind him. Did I see him before? No, there's a guy. There's at least one guy who does the Camino constantly and kind of begs for alms along the way, apparently. Then there's another guy. I hope I'm on the right piece of video now. I'm getting so confused with this. Day 2, 2 hours. Yeah, that should be my day 8. Okay. There's a guy who drags this big, heavy cart. And I think he goes over and back on the Camino, and I saw him. Maybe they're the same guy. I don't know if I could do the Camino non-stop. I'm pretty sure I couldn't. Well, be okay while you're young, but there's no pension plan in it, as people are apt to talk about a lot. Pension plans. Where is your pension plan on that? I ask you. If you come and sign on for Social Security and they say, what have you been doing for the last 20 years? I've been walking the Camino. Would they be impressed? I don't know. I'd be kind of impressed. 10 years on the Camino. Don't think I'd do it myself, though. So the weather's clearing up now. There was definitely a jump in time at the start of our walk today, and it's sort of brighter and less foggy now. I'm sure someone could tell by the length of the shadows what time it is. I can't, but the sun does start behind you, come around to your left, so it's probably still relatively early. So perhaps, gonna challenge myself for the rest of this podcast, like not just today's, for the whole walk. Gonna try and see what it's like to not say perhaps. That said, I can feel this is almost like another perhaps coming on. Yeah, I'm saying it right now. That said, perhaps. What's worse than saying perhaps all the time is shouting down people with your strongly held beliefs. I used to kind of think that people who voiced their opinions strongly, vociferously, sometimes aggressively, at some weird level I thought they were right. And eventually I realized no, there's no correspondence between the level of someone's sort of how angrily they put forward a point and the accuracy of the point. Sometimes there is, I'm sure. There we go, perhaps. See, I might drop the word perhaps, but I'll still always be coming in with the different points of view. And that's okay. I think my view, though, is, will come through. And also it is just a view. And I think opinions are overrated. That's an opinion of mine. It's an opinion I strongly hold, that opinions are overrated. Oh yeah, another thing. I want to start speaking slower because that means I can say less and fill the time, obviously. But also, when I listened back to my podcast, I thought it was better when I spoke a little slower. So, for all my many thousands of listeners, I hope you're enjoying this, listening to my voice. Whether you're walking on a treadmill like me, possibly looking at this on YouTube, or else listening on my podcast, or doing it on an exercise bike or whatever, or going to sleep listening to my voice. It's all good. Just keep those hundreds of thousands of listeners coming. And I'll rake in all the money. I plan to retire in the Bahamas, but I'll stay in touch with all my fans. So don't worry about that. But yeah, if and when I make my millions on this podcast, this actually started as a YouTube phenomenon. It's hilarious that I'm saying that I've hardly any views so far. But by the time you're listening to this, it will have become a podcast phenomenon. Oh man, I'll be all over the chat show circuit. I'm getting stressed just thinking about that. I mean, I've one nice suit, but like, if I'm on the chat show circuit, I'd need loads of them, wouldn't I? Oh yeah, I'll have a sponsor, of course. Giorgio Armani. Or a Savile Row tailor. That'll be okay. I'll also have expensive watches supplied by Rolex. What are the other big names? Whatever. Those big ones that Stallone has. Panera or something. There's Philippe Patel. I can't remember all the names. Breitling. Anyway, I look forward to it. In fact, as you're listening right now, it's probably already happened, so I'm thankful to all my fans for bringing me all this great wealth. And they do say that money doesn't buy you happiness, but it certainly is true. It buys you better quality misery. I can attest to that. The quality of my misery right now, as you're listening, as I look out from one of my many residences. This one is in Malibu. I look out over the beach. I check the time on my Philippe Patel, is it, watch? Kevin Hart has a couple of those, I think. And I say, oh yes, time for another cocktail, I dare say. To my beautiful wife. And she says, I dare say you're right, James. Why are we both speaking in bad English accents? Oh, what's happening here? People, conversation. Oh no, he keeps going. Turn back. Now I'm getting confused again because I'm pretty sure I saw this yesterday or on my last walk. On my last walk, things went awry. And I think I saw different bits of the video. I mean, this tablet I have is kind of old, and I think it's skipped around a bit. So, God knows, if you're watching it on YouTube, day 7, I wash my hands of the whole affair, to quote Pontius Pilate. Quite appropriate during COVID times. Washing one's hands. Sheep. Yes, these are sheep. Look at them. Oh, so cute. Yeah, I remember having an idea for a book. And not here, it was somewhere between wherever. So the next place after Zubiri, somewhere between that next place and Pamplona. It was early in the morning. I left ahead of everyone. How was I up first? God knows. And I was looking at cows and sheep, and I had an idea about a mystical Jesus-like figure walking the Camino and talking to the animals. Yeah, I was... In the early mornings, I'm way out there, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. Perhaps. You know what? I'm hanging in there with perhaps. It's like that ad for Carlsberg beer, probably. They made that their kind of USP, unique selling point. So, oh my God, a dissolve, and now we are here in this place, and I think this could be the place where I spent my first night. Yeah. Not sure though. These are pretty impressive houses, aren't they? They say the streets are narrow in a lot of parts of Spain too, because of the heat, I guess to create more shadow. But I've seen narrower than this in Galway, where I live, and we certainly don't suffer from an abundance of heat. That's for sure. But these towns are quiet, and look, everything's boarded up. Well, maybe that's just for the night, because you're right. Not used to that in Ireland, but the hot countries, the shutters come down to keep the heat out or something. I haven't a clue what I'm on about. The sign says stop. Must be the same in Spanish. I don't know. I know nothing. I was on the verge of saying something profound there, and it's about to come back to me. Yeah, I definitely walked through a lot of ghost towns. This isn't quite one of them. There were some that were just so sleepy, and all the young people had left. And few young people stayed to run cafes for the pilgrims. And then there was another town coming up. It's a good few days away from where we are here, that was one of those kind of what in Ireland we'd call a Celtic tiger town, a town that sprung up during the boom. And it seemed to be largely empty houses. It's quite depressing. But there's places, a few places like that in Ireland, and there's also just old towns where all the young people have left because the economy has changed so much. You don't see them as much nowadays because of motorways. You don't go through towns. That's the same in lots of countries now. I remember when I first used to drive or even get the bus, from Galway to Dublin, and you go through all the little towns and you get a sense of place and geography. And nowadays you just drive on a motorway and it's all numbers and junctions and exits. But here's the thing. There's a part of me that likes that. There's a part of me that feels like, when I'm driving on that motorway, there's the bell. So, is that the Angelus? Is that noon? Could well be. So, I'm not going to recite the Angelus now. Don't know it off by heart. I probably did when I was younger. I think it's one of those, once you get started, it's remembering the first line, like in a poem. Right now it escapes me. And also, I'm not sure. If you want to hear the Angelus, you can look it up. You're looking for more kind of original thought from me and my witty and deep observations about life and, what's it all about. So, hang in there, we'll get there, we're working towards it. Is there a God? I will reveal that on the final day. No, I'll reveal it in bits and pieces. So, and when you put all the pieces together, you'll have the answer. But that means you have to listen to everything. Okay? Deal? Okay. Capisce? Si, signore. I think capisce is Italian, isn't it? Perhaps. What was the other phrase I was repeating? Oh, yeah. We'll never know. That would be a good name for a podcast. I'm sure it's out there already. You get a lot of those, somebody knows something, somebody disappeared, we'll never know. Listen through a few of those true crime podcasts. It's amazing how that came back into fashion, the whole true crime thing. When I was a kid, teenage girls used to read true crime magazines that had kind of graphic details. I think I never really looked at them in detail, and I think that went out of fashion, I'm not sure, but then Netflix was Serial, first of all, with the Serial podcast, with, what was the first one? The murder case. So, what was his name again? God. Ayed, oh my God. See? It's gone. He's still in jail though. Then there was Making a Murderer on Netflix. And then there was a few, wasn't there? Then I read the book by John Grisham, An Innocent Man. Then they brought that out on Netflix, and then I just realized I've reached my fill. I don't want to watch that. A, I've read the book, and B, I don't know, it's like reading it is one thing, but watching the images and photographs of, forensic stuff and all that, I remember somebody saying to me about graphic images, like he said, they go into your head and they don't come out. I thought that's an interesting way of looking at it, and I think there's some truth in that. I may have discussed this on an earlier podcast, forgive me if I did. I know we've people like Tarantino and these guys saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with violent images. Or no, he doesn't engage in the debate, really, and fair enough. But I guess it's a personal thing. For me, I find it harder now to look at. I was never a big fan of gore and violence anyway, but I probably find it harder to take now. Especially, this whole torture porn thing. I don't think I've seen any of those films, Saw and all those, and Hostel. And I'm not on some moral high horse about it. It's just not for me. But I would worry about kids looking at that, and I don't know what the science is on it, but I don't have kids, but if I did, I wouldn't really want them watching that at a young age. And I also wouldn't want them watching Game of Thrones at a young age. I watched the first 1.5 seasons or something, or 2.5 seasons, I can't remember. After the fact, after, they'd all come out, because people kept going on at me to watch it. And I watched a few and gave up. Then I was sick at home from work. I said, I'll just watch a few more, it'll pass the time. Although, as Beckett said, it would have passed anyway. And I was saying to a friend recently about it, that it's got this kind of mock Middle Ages vibe to it. But if I'm going to watch that, I say Middle Ages, I'm not good on my history, but I think it's something like that. I think I'd rather watch an authentic period piece based on real history. From either that era or Tudor or whatever. I haven't read the Wolf Hall trilogy yet. I'm not even mad into historic books, but I'd like to read those, Hilary Mantel. And I'm like, there's only enough hours in the day to do a certain amount of things. The time I spend watching Game of Thrones, which I don't even like, which is an important factor, I guess, could be spent reading the Hilary Mantel trilogy. Oh my God, cyclists, get a bell! Ding ding, get a bell! That's what I used to shout at them. He's no bell, It's like, he's not so bad, but you get like a pack of, and I keep saying Italian cyclists, but there seem to have been a lot of them were Italian. And they're lycra or whatever. They come flying down a hill, screaming at you to get out of the way, or they start making this noise. But they don't have a bell because, I think someone was saying because it's not macho enough. Hold on, I'm going to step up my pace here. Got to keep up with BK. I'm now at 4.4 kilometers an hour. Anywho, someone was saying, it's not macho, I guess there's something dainty about a little bell, that's for like Mary Poppins or something. But I used to scream at them, get a bell! Ding ding, ding ding. Obviously I added the ding ding in case they didn't understand me. But other people started shouting it too. Actually, I've got the opportunity to shout it once more in Ireland since coming back, just once. I know why it works me up so much, because I was walking on the towpath in Belfast. Nice walk with my friend Declan, who I mention every so often, another Camino head. And a guy came flying down on a bike with no bell and hit me. And he clipped me. It could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. But it really annoyed me. So this time it's personal. The whole bell thing is definitely, I'll take that with me to the grave. There's my one strong opinions. No perhaps there. Well, first of all, as I said, on day one, if and when I become a dictator of either Spain, Europe, or the whole world, or the universe, or whatever, Spain is all I need. In fact, I don't even need all of Spain. I just need to be dictator of the Camino. So, need a few armies, that guy TJ that I met on day one, the American fighter pilot, might be up for it. I could enlist him, some of his cronies. And anyway, when we take hold of the Camino, that strip there that covers the Camino, we'll take that over, and then I will ban all bicycles, punishable by execution. So the bell thing won't even come into it. I mean, I banned the bicycles from the Camino path. Off that, you can do what you like. Actually, off that, you need a bell. But on the Camino, no bikes, bell or not. And I will be ruthless about that. But then, in every other way, I'll be, as I said before, a benevolent dictator. Lovely dictator. Oh man, you're gonna love me. Just as long as you're not too big into cycling. So, how are we doing? Oh my God, 26 minutes done. That's good. And I feel like I've said nothing of importance. That's a pretty good achievement. But I've kept talking the whole time without making very little sense. Yeah, I made a note. What's this noise? What are we listening to here? Is that traffic? Must be near the road, even though he's on a path. So, I was listening to DJs the other night. I don't really listen to popular radio. I listen to like Lyric FM here in Ireland, which is kind of classical and yeah, that kind of thing. And but occasionally I hear like popular music stations. I don't know, the DJs, it just seems to be, they try and just say the most, is it vapid or vapid things? Vapid, I think. And it seems like that's what people want, I guess, if they're tuning into it, but sometimes even I want it, perhaps. But it's like, really, I come back to Beckett all the time. Passes the time, it would have passed anyway. I think I'd rather the time pass in excruciating existential angst, at the bottom of which there might be some meaning, than DJs distracting you with these little quips. What was he saying? He was saying, oh yeah, lockdown, not much to do. Today's decision is, pizza or Chinese. Phone in with your comments. And people do, I'm like, come on. I'm better than that guy, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So maybe they'll give me a radio show after this. That'll be nice, as long as the pay is good. But everything's designed to distract us nowadays. I think we just get used to it. What was I going to say about existential angst? Something really funny, I dare say. This video is skipping a lot. Oh, here we go. Hello, Buen Camino.
안녕하세요. 잘 주무셨습니까? 어떻게 뭐 샤워장이나 뭐 그런 거 다 있었어요?
아주 훌륭해요.
와,
Okay.
한 6명 정도.
So I'll translate for you. He's saying, oh, this is great. It's lovely weather, isn't it? And they're saying, yeah. Oh yeah, I got to keep walking because I have a camera on my head. And he's saying, oh, is the camera still on? Oh, yes, it is. Ha 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 ha. And then he's saying, I'd better get a move on because I don't want to be late to the hostel because I haven't booked a place to stay yet, and I don't want to end up sleeping on the road like last night. And she's laughing, ha ha ha, that's funny. He's going, you think it's funny, but it wasn't funny last night. Okay, I'll move on. Okay, see you. Bye bye. Yeah, I'll see you there. Okay, see you. Bye. That was just a rough translation. He's just saying, let's have a few drinks when we get there. Bacardi and Coke is my favorite. What do you think? What's your favorite? And now he's saying, oh, please get away from me. Stop following me. Yeah. Okay,
더 지나가시던가 그러셔야 될 것 같아요. 저는 거기까지
so I'll do my best with the translation, but I'm not the fastest. My Korean is okay, but it's trying to do it at speed, you know? Yeah, okay, get some water here. You see, I think on yesterday's video, I think I saw them before. I think it was a mixture of, I don't know. The video just went all over the place. So, as I said, enjoy. We do our best. That's all we can do. We do our best. I do my best. What if I said, I do your best? Does that even make sense? Could you say that? We do your best. Probably not. Though, if my best was really bad, then I actually should do somebody else's best. Like if you want me to do something, and you know I'm bad, you could say to me, "Can you do this for me?" And I say, "Yeah, I'll do my best." But then you could turn around and say, "No, don't do your best, do my best." That would that actually makes sense. I might get a patent on that one. So, God, I'm really spouting nonsense. Let's pump up the treadmill here, or the fan, that is to say. And it is now 8:15 Friday evening, 12 hours later than I should have been doing this. I'm alone at home on my treadmill. My two cats are somewhere in the house. I'm living the dream, as you can see and hear. Don't be jealous, you can do it too. All you need is an empty house, a treadmill, two cats. Away you go. Oh, there's something beeping now. Emails coming through. The hopeful beep of the email. The only two things, let me think, that I care about that it could be are love, which is unlikely. Nothing in the offing there, kills the breeze. Or money, and that's almost as unlikely. So what else could the hopeful beat be? Okay, obviously it could be spam, could be bills. What are the most depressing emails? You know, if you're really in a bad mood and it comes through and you go, oh God, that's awful. Phone in with your answers. And now back after this number from Elton John, or whoever the young folk listen to nowadays. What's her name? I had the name on the tip of my tongue of some current pop star. What the hell? I keep feeling like I'm about to say it, but it's not there. It's like one of these names. Her surname is just a letter, and the first name is 2 syllables. Bazzy C or something. Cindy. We'll never know. So anyway, 2.3 kilometers, good. If nothing else, I should lose weight by the end of this. Lost a lot on the original Camino. I'm not saying it was huge beforehand, but I was fit and toned by the end. Oh yes. And tanned, of course. Though I covered myself up a lot. Yeah, I didn't want to burn. I mean, no, I'm not into being burnt. It's not healthy and it's not pleasant. So, I got another new watch. I just remembered I'm looking at it now. Oh God. In lieu of holidays, vacations, I've been bought an electric guitar and 2 watches. And a watch winder. I didn't even know what that was 2 weeks ago. It winds my auto-winding watch when I'm not wearing it. I mean, I don't know how I lived without that, I really don't. the sad thing is, I think it's so cool. I'm looking at it. I was looking at it. I was working today, and I put it up on my desk, and I set it. It rotates. It's set for my watch, which is the right setting, to do something like 165 rotations a day in both directions. So it'll sit there doing nothing, and then every so often it'll rotate a few times clockwise, then it'll stop. Then I'm working away, and next thing it starts rotating the other way, anti-clockwise, for, I don't know, 30 seconds, and then it stops. And it's so quiet. I'm like, this is so cool. Oh. But you know, someone was saying to me, oh my God, it's become an obsession. And then she said, well, there's worse obsessions. And I did buy a third watch. That was a cheaper one, a kinetic one, just because I like the idea of it. Kinetic. It's got a battery or a capacitor that charges itself from the movement of your wrist. But it's different to an automatic winding watch, which winds itself from your wrist. Seiko invented the kinetic watch, you'd be glad to know. This is a pulsar I ordered. But the thing about it is, with the kinetic, you have to wear it a lot to keep it going, so it doesn't drain. So, whereas an auto winding watch, you can let it stop and rewind it. So I guess once I get it, I'll be wearing it a lot on my treadmill. Although, just thinking about it, my arm doesn't move much in the treadmill. Oh my God, my theory is fast going up in smoke. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by Hamilton Watches and Tissot, all part of the Swatch Group. It's not actually been brought by them, so I should really say other brands are available. Or if you really don't give a flying whatever, don't buy any watch. I always liked watches though, and this whole idea of taking your phone out of your pocket to read the time, I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. No. Of course, some people have their phone out the whole time. I try not to do that. No, definitely I'm enjoying having a couple of sort of old style watches. I'm easily amused. And they're not ridiculously expensive. That's why I'm doing this podcast, so I can afford the ridiculously expensive ones. This just feels familiar, this whole street, but there's a lot of places that look like that. Just coming around that corner, I got deja vu. I think, no, I can't be on my, no, I'm not, I'm on my day 2 from the original one. I think Viscare was where I stayed. And I walked as far as Zubiri and then past it to whatever the next town was called. The town that had the guy who ran the supermarket, and he played records and out loud and told me, you need to relax. So that was so early on. And on that one, I think I said it already here, I met a Polish guy who I also met him on day 1 when we were tending to the woman who collapsed. Then I met him again at that town that comes just after Zubiri, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong. And I was saying to him, he had strong faith. I said, well, you know, I'm trying to have faith. He said, faith is grace, he said. Never heard it put like that before, but I liked it. I won't go into what grace, well, grace in the sort of Christian meaning is, here I go going into it. As soon as I think of anything to talk about, I just go with it. I mean, I have to, otherwise I'll stop. So grace is that idea of something unearned, a reward or something that's unearned, where, like when I mentioned that jazz musician, Dave Coltrane. No, John Coltrane, isn't it? God, who's Dave Coltrane? John Coltrane? Now I'm mixed up. Anyway, gave up drugs, gave up heroin, and definitely experienced what he, I think, called a moment of grace, and never did drugs again. Recorded that beautiful album, Love Supreme. I'm like, I don't care what you call that. Grace, God, universe, science, coincidence. Either way, it's amazing. It's what it's all about. It's surely, we're all after some form of amazing, even though life isn't and can't be amazing all the time. But actually, at some level it is. Just this life we know about on this little rock. Or, I don't mean to disparage any aliens listening in, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. I obviously, first of all, I welcome you, and I bow down to your rule if you were the rulers. I'm a easygoing guy. I'm a perhaps kind of guy, so I won't cause you any trouble. But whatever rock you're spinning around, just the fact the universe exists and we're in it, and sharing moments in time, which we can be doing right now, and we're time traveling. Anyone who's listening to me is traveling in time. Back to me right now in my back room of my house on my treadmill in Buen Camino in Galway. It's snowing today where I am. There's a kind of double time travel going on here because I'm watching, and if you were looking on YouTube, you're watching BK Lee in 2018 in Spain. You're listening to me in Ireland 2021, February. I'm also recalling, oh my phone is going again, hold on a second. I'm also recalling when I did the Camino in 2017, September 2017. And you're listening from any time between February 2021 and the end of the earth as we know it. Isn't that an REM song? End of the world as we know it. Of course, by then we'll have moved to Mars, courtesy of Elon Musk. But, no sooner do you get one place, you worry about something else, because then it's like, we'll screw up Mars and we'll have to move somewhere else. And then it's like the nearest, I don't know if the other planets in our solar system are worth anything. So we might have to go to the nearest constellation, and that's like a few light years away. I don't think it'll ever be possible to travel at the speed of light, other than light itself. Because light starts at the speed of light, and to get anything physical to move up to the speed of light, the more energy you put into it, the more weight you create. Like, we don't come anywhere close. Then there's these things called pulsars, and I think, am I right in saying they only go at like one fraction of the speed of light? Here I go bluffing again. I will talk about anything. If someone asks me a question, I'll start to answer it. I doubt I'm alone in this, but I'm pretty good at it. I'll start to answer it without even checking if I know the answer. So often what I end up doing, let's put my incline up to 2 here. Often what I end up doing is I start answering, I'll go, well, and then in the answering, I'll actually be asking questions to myself out loud. I could do that for up to a minute, and then at the end I go, actually, I don't know. I would have saved everybody a lot of trouble by saying I don't know, but I just feel like, I always feel like I know things until it turns out that I don't. At which point I'm humble enough to concede that I don't know anything. Buen Camino, she's taking a rest. BK's powering on. Good man, BK. Good man, BK, as we say in Ireland. Where was I? Totally lost now. I was talking about, time coexisting at once. So this is time travel now. Of course, I'm sure most of you know that when you look at the nearest star, I used to know these figures, but the nearest constellation, which is outside of our solar system, Oh yeah, hold on now. I'm just thinking, I was saying we'd have to go to another constellation, but we wouldn't necessarily, to find a planet, but there's other planets in the stars within our own constellation, probably. So that might be a bit easier. But the nearest constellation, it's either like 14 million light years or 45 million light years away or something. Andromeda, is that what they call it? But even the nearest star, besides the sun, could be a light year away, or I don't know. Put it this way, say it is a light year away, lots of them are way further away. It takes a year for that light to reach you. So you can be looking at a star that doesn't exist anymore, especially the ones from hundreds of light years away. Or thousands, I don't know if we can see that far. So that's time travel, in a way, looking into the past. But that means that everything we see is in the past, even though it's just a fraction of a millisecond. But I think that's what the mystics, they get to a place where they're beyond time and they really are in the moment in a way that can't be grasped, I think, by our logical brain. It's pre-computation almost. I think in that book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, yeah, he definitely talks about something like that. I was quite young when I read that, and if I'm honest, I was expecting it to be a little bit more exciting. It was quite philosophical, but kind of interesting. I'd probably get more out of it now. There's one line in it that haunts me, though. He said something about, he was traveling on a motorbike and camping with his son, and he said, oh, I get up early not to waste the sunlight. That haunts me. I've wasted so much sunlight in my life. It's unreal. And, I went to Reykjavik in Iceland for the New Year. New millennium, actually. Ooh la la. 1999 to, the new millennium, 2000. And it was great because it was winter time, so there wasn't much sunlight. So I didn't have to feel guilty about wasting the sunlight. I was like, this is my kind of place. Buen Camino. See, BK is too polite to tell this person to move. Oh, here we go. We're overtaking. We're overtaking. Pole position. Not quite. Someone else ahead of us. Come on, you can do it, BK. You can do it. I'll up the speed here. Will that help you? Okay, here we go. 4.6. Yeah. Okay, 4.8. We're gonna do it. Come on. Here we go. And what else was I talking about? Constellations, time travel. And I'm pretty sure I went on to something profound. Oh, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Don't waste the sunshine. Iceland. I mean, if I went to one of these North European places, where they got the winter lights and everything, 24-hour darkness, I actually think I'd like that for a while. I also wouldn't mind living in California for maybe a year, or Hawaii, or I don't know. Maybe do a bit of surfing, get a Volkswagen camper van. Volkswagen camper van, an old 35mm SLR camera, a beat up surfboard, what sort of guitar? I wouldn't bring my electric, an old beat up acoustic guitar, maybe a dobro guitar. If you don't know what it is, Google it. So if you see that guy, I'll have a dog on a string as well. Say hello. Okay. So BK is caught up with this guy. Buen Camino. Pole position. Come on. Okay, I can slow down now. We did it, BK. We did it. Okay. I'm going back to 4.4 kilometers. Don't want to show off. And I've only 10 minutes left. So some exciting stuff coming up after this drink of water. Don't go anywhere. Don't go away. So, the exciting stuff that's coming up, you're thinking, how could it be any more exciting? And you're right, it isn't. It's I don't even know what it is yet. That's how crazy I am. Buen Camino. It's lovely to see all the people on the Camino. The sense of all these other people who did it. That's great. Okay. I gotta strip down here. I'm burning up. I'm burning up. Okay. Oh, and of course I've no pockets. Okay. And I just see I've got Tinder matches on my phone. I went back on it last night, even though it never seems to work out for me. I think that's awesome. I'm pretty definite I'm not alone with that one. Maybe it suits some people more. I think maybe my winning personality doesn't quite translate into online dating. We'll never know. Okay, so strip down. I say strip down, I mean I'm topless. Don't get too excited. And I am getting tempted to read my messages, check my Tinder matches, but I'll postpone the disappointment for later. What was I saying about the most depressing emails? You know, if an email pops up and as I said, I'm hoping it's love or money, and it's, you know, my car toll pass statement. That's pretty depressing. What else? There's more oh, you know what's really depressing? If you sign up for some half-assed website, something you forgot you signed up for, the kind of one that steals all your data and tries to hack into your other accounts, some ridiculous, meaningless website. I don't mean anything dodgy, just stupid. I can't even think what that is, but anyway. And then you get an email on your birthday from this anonymous website because you put your date of birth in, they're wishing you happy birthday. Oh, that's depressing. That for me, unless I'm having a really good birthday. But if you're having a bad birthday and you're all alone, you feel nobody loves you, and then the email pops up and you're like, oh, and maybe you catch a glimpse of happy birthday, but it's then just, you know, some Mickey Mouse website saying happy birthday. Yeah, one of the ones I signed up for was an Esperanto website because I decided I wanted to learn Esperanto. Taught myself a bit of it, I've forgotten it all. I wanted to write a short film in Esperanto because I had some deluded idea that the people who give out money for these short film awards would be interested in that. In anything by me, let alone something in Esperanto. And I think I got a happy birthday from them. It wasn't even in Esperanto. Well, it must have been in English and Esperanto. I'll tell you one thing. I always say that. I'll tell you one thing. And then, you know, I'll tell you yet another thing would be more accurate. If I sign up for an Esperanto website, and on my birthday, when I'm feeling really down, they wish me happy birthday in English and not even in Esperanto, like they don't even make that effort, that would be even more depressing. I'll have to research that. I probably deleted the email. I went on to my password manager the other day and it says, oh, you've all these same password and conflicts, dodgy websites trying to hack your passwords. Tried to sort it out. So don't even think about it. I'm on top of it. Don't you just get sick of passwords? Of course, now I just get Google to make up a strong password for me and save it. Putting all my trust in Mr. Google. What could possibly go wrong? It's like we shouldn't trust these evil corporations, but it's a lot easier if you do, you know? When they take over the world and, you know, whatever, create this dystopian future that apparently they will, that we're probably in already, we don't know about. And people say to me, why didn't you fight cancel? I go, because they were saving my passwords and, reminding me when it was my birthday and stuff. Telling me how to get places that I used to know how to get to before all that. So that's where the world's all going to end. I did have an idea the other day, though, that, we're on the cusp of the end of civilization as we know it, I dare say. And I think if we were to pinpoint, there's a few places you could pinpoint where it began, but I think the advent of the reply to all email is definitely a contender for that. Anyone out there who works in a company and has ever been caught up in a whirlpool, a wormhole of reply to all emails knows what I'm talking about. There's some people that's all they do. And then they do reply to all and then they re-add it and they CC somebody else and it goes on forever. There's definitely more efficient ways than using email for all that. But it's a well-rehearsed argument with me and losing battle. Fascinating as it is, any of my listeners, when I meet you in public, we can discuss it. I might save that for the arena, the stadium appearance. Okay, I promise you. So get subscribing. Cough up some moolah there. Give me lots of money and make me famous, and then I'll tell you all my theories on work and productivity and email and whatnot. That's a handy word, isn't it? Whatnot. Covers a multitude of sins. I'm coming near my time now, which is good. But here's another word I had. Here's a good word for you. If someone says, how long are you going to be? I used to, like an idiot, say 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Now I just say shortly. I'll be with you shortly. I love that word. Like shortly, depending on your perspective, could be anywhere between, I don't know, a minute and a decade. So, nice and loose. There's my life hack for today. You're welcome. Shortly. Commit that to memory. Actually, I got another good one before I go. Grammar, okay? Because grammar drives me nuts, bad grammar, because I'm like that. And this whole you and I thing, like, we kind of had it drilled to us since the school. You don't say John and I went, you don't say John and me went to the shop, me and John went to the shop. You say John and I went to the shop. So we're all going around shouting John and I, Steve and I, and we think we're great and educated, but then half the time people are using it wrong. Because, and I'm not going to get into the whole subject-object thing, but if I were to say, the shopkeeper came to John and I, and lots of people do say it, even so-called learned people on the radio, that would be wrong. It would be the shopkeeper came to John and me. John and I went to the shop. The shopkeeper came to John and me. Interesting, right? Pedantic, right? And the way I remember that is pretty simple. I wouldn't say me went to the shop. I would say I went to the shop. Therefore, John and I went to the shop. And I wouldn't say the shopkeeper came to I would say the shopkeeper came to me. Therefore, the shopkeeper came to John and me. Take a moment to take that in. Take a deep breath. I'm not going to repeat it, but you can feel free to rewind. Commit that to memory, and you'll never make that particular grammatical faux pas again. Oh, that's another one. I say again. People always tell me it should be again. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I've heard some people say again. Annie Lennox, Here Comes the Rain Again. The Cure. What's the song? Again and again and again. So, it's a bit of precedent there. Part of me wants to change to again, just to kind of fit in like a chameleon. But now that I'm on the way to superstardom, I think people are just going to have to change to accommodate me. So I think soon everybody will be saying again. Now, how am I doing time-wise on the video? Coming up to 59:40, 20 seconds ago. So it's been lovely chatting to you. And look at this lovely tree shaded pathway. BK is going to continue the walk while I have something to eat and maybe do a bit of writing and shower, of course, and go to bed. So that's it. We've come to the hour. God bless. Buen Camino. See you soon.